There is a moment, a sacred, electric, irreversible moment, when a human soul stops begging and starts becoming. When the hands that were outstretched in desperation curl inward and press against a chest full of divine fire, and the voice that once trembled with lack rises up from the depths of eternal knowing and speaks the truth that was always, always already written. That moment is now. That moment is this breath. That moment is every word you are about to receive deep into the marrow of who you are, because you did not arrive here by accident. You were drawn here by something greater than coincidence, something mightier than chance. The very force that flung galaxies into their places, that carved rivers through stone, that breathes life into the lungs of every living creature on this earth. That same force has been quietly, patiently, lovingly waiting for you to open your mouth and agree with what it already knows about you. And what does it know? It knows you are wealthy. It knows you are supplied. It knows you are a vessel built for overflow, designed for abundance, created not to scratch and scrape at the edges of existence, but to walk in the fullness of everything heaven has already prepared and placed and named and sealed with your name. So let this be the day. Let this be the hour. Let this be the moment you stop rehearsing the story of not enough and begin with the full authority that lives inside your voice to speak the language of already having. Because here is what most people do not understand about wealth. They believe it is a destination. They believe it is a reward. They believe it is something granted to the lucky, inherited by the privileged, stumbled upon by the fortunate. But wealth, true wealth, divine wealth, the kind that does not fluctuate with markets, or tremble with recessions, or shrivel in the face of circumstance, that wealth is a vibration. It is a frequency. It is a state of being that exists first in the invisible, first in the spiritual, first in the sacred conversation you have with yourself before a single dollar changes hands. And the gateway to that frequency, the bridge between the invisible wealth that is yours by divine right and the visible, tangible, physical manifestation of it in your bank account, in your home, in your hands, that bridge is made entirely of words. Your words. The sentences you whisper to yourself in the dark. The declarations you either make or fail to make in the quiet of your own mind. The language of your inner world is the architect of your outer one, and if you have been living in a house of financial fear, I want you to understand something profound right now. It is not because the supply ran out, it is because the declaration ran dry. Think about this. The universe is not withholding from you. God is not sitting in some distant realm deciding your account balance. The source of all supply is not a miser who doles out wealth sparingly to a selected few. No, the source is infinite. The source is boundless. The source is overflowing in every direction, in every dimension, at every moment. The problem was never supply. The problem was alignment. And alignment begins with the tongue. It begins with the words you choose to give your energy to. It begins with whether you wake up in the morning and say, I cannot afford this. Or whether you wake up and say, with conviction, with certainty, with the calm authority of one who knows, I am in perfect and permanent alignment with divine supply, and everything I need flows to me with grace and ease. These are not just different sentences, they are different worlds. They are different commands sent into the spiritual realm. They are different signals broadcast into the universe. And the universe, which does not judge, which does not play favorites, which simply responds to the frequency of your declaration, the universe will build around whichever signal you consistently send. So the question is never, does wealth exist for me? It always does. The question is always, what am I broadcasting? What am I declaring? What story am I telling about money, about myself, about what I deserve, and what I am capable of receiving? And the moment you change that story, truly change it, not just intellectually agree with it, but speak it with your full voice, declare it with your full faith, live inside it with your full being, that is the moment the physical world begins to rearrange itself to match. I want to talk to you about your relationship with money, because most people, whether they admit it or not, have a complicated one. They learned about money from parents who were afraid of it, from a culture that either worshipped it or shamed it, from experiences of lack that carved deep grooves of fear into the subconscious. And those grooves became highways. Every thought about money automatically travels down that highway of fear, of scarcity, of never enough, of who am I to have it, of people like me don't end up wealthy. And those grooves, those deeply worn paths of fearful thought, have been running on autopilot for years. They run in the background like a program you forgot you installed, quietly canceling every declaration of abundance you try to make, quietly undermining every vision of prosperity you dare to hold. But here is the miracle of the human mind. Here is the miracle of divine grace working through consciousness. Those grooves can be replaced. Those highways can be redirected. The brain is not fixed. The spirit is not trapped. And the moment you begin to speak differently to yourself, about money, about your future, you begin to carve new pathways, new channels through which the river of abundance can flow. And the more consistently you speak the language of wealth, the wider those channels become, until one day, and that day is closer than you think, the river rushes through with a force so powerful that no old thought of lack can dam it anymore. So let us speak. Let us open our mouths together and declare what is spiritually true before it is physically visible. Let us practice the most powerful discipline a wealthy soul can master, the discipline of speaking from the end, of declaring the finish line while still in the middle of the race, of calling things that are not as though they already are. This is not wishful thinking. This is not fantasy. This is faith operating at its highest frequency. And faith, real faith, the kind that does not require proof before it speaks, is the most creative force in the known and unknown universe. Say it now and mean it from the center of your being. I am wealthy. Not I will be wealthy. Not I am trying to become wealthy. Not I hope to be wealthy someday. I am wealthy. Right now. In this moment, at this exact stage of my journey. I am wealthy because wealth is first a spiritual state and I am aligned with spirit. I am wealthy because the source of all supply flows through me like a river, through a wide and willing valley. I am wealthy because I have decided that the language of lack will no longer live in my mouth. I am wealthy because heaven said it first, and I am simply agreeing. I am wealthy. Say it again. I am wealthy. Let it vibrate in your chest. Let it echo in your mind. Let it become the most natural sentence your voice has ever produced. More natural than doubt, more familiar than fear, more automatic than worry. I am wealthy. Now, breathe that in. Because something just shifted in the spiritual realm the moment you declared it. Something moved, something opened, something began to arrange itself in your favor on the other side of the veil. Now I need you to understand something about how this works, because there is a law at play here. Not a theory, not a philosophy, not a motivational concept, but a law as reliable and as immovable as gravity. The law of vibration states that everything in this universe exists as energy, including your thoughts, including your words, including the emotions with which you speak those words. And like energy, attracts like energy. Always, without exception. The universe is not capable of sending you experiences that do not match your dominant vibration. So if your dominant vibration is fear, it sends you experiences that confirm fear. If your dominant vibration is lack, it sends you experiences that confirm lack. But if your dominant vibration is abundance, if the words in your mouth and the beliefs in your heart and the expectations in your spirit are consistently tuned to the frequency of overflow, then the universe has no choice, but to send you experiences that confirm abundance. This is not magic. This is mechanics. This is the mechanism by which the spiritual world governs the physical one. And your voice is the tuning fork. Your declarations are the frequency setting. Every time you speak wealth, you tune the instrument of your life a little more precisely to the channel of abundance. Every time you affirm that money flows to you, that opportunities find you, that divine supply never fails you, you strengthen the signal, you increase the broadcast. You make it impossible for the universe not to respond. So let it become your morning ritual. The moment your eyes open, before the world has a chance to fill your mind with its noise and its news and its endless litany of reasons to be afraid, speak first. Open your mouth and say, "This is a day of divine increase. Money is moving toward me right now from sources I expect and from sources I have not yet imagined. Favor is in my atmosphere. Opportunities are already lining themselves up along my path. I am a magnet for wealth. I am a channel for prosperity. Everything I touch is blessed and becomes a blessing. Today, I walk in overflow. Today, I receive with open hands. Today, heaven pours out, and I am the vessel." Say that every single morning, and watch what happens to the texture of your days. Watch how differently you notice things. Watch how many more doors seem to stand open. Watch how many more conversations turn into opportunities. Watch how often money arrives in forms you could not have predicted, through phone calls you did not expect, through ideas that suddenly illuminate your mind, through gifts and refunds and unexpected deposits and promotions and contracts. The universe was always sending these things. You simply could not see them through the fog of fearful declaration. But now the fog is lifting, and the landscape of your wealthy life is becoming visible with every spoken word of faith. Let me speak to you now about the energy of money itself. Because money is not evil, money is not corrupting, money is not something to be ashamed of, desiring, or dangerous to focus on. Money is energy. It is a tool of divine circulation. It is the physical form that supply takes in this material dimension, and it responds profoundly, accurately, almost personally, to the energy of the one who handles it. Think about the people in your life who seem to be natural magnets for financial abundance. Have you noticed that they are not necessarily the hardest workers? Have you noticed that they are not always the most qualified, the most educated, the most strategic? What they have, what creates the field of attraction around them, is a particular relationship with money. They speak of it without fear. They think of it without resentment. They expect it without desperation. They release it without grief. They welcome it without guilt. They have, whether consciously or not, created a vibration of partnership with money, a collaborative, warm, expectant relationship. And money is drawn to them the way any living thing is drawn to a welcoming environment. You can create that vibration. You can cultivate that relationship starting right now, starting with the words that come out of your mouth today. Speak to money as though it is a faithful partner. Say, "Money, you are welcome here. Money, I am a worthy vessel for your increase. Money, I honor you, and I use you with wisdom and with generosity. Money, you are not my master, and you are not my enemy. You are my servant and my partner in the divine plan of my life. You flow to me with ease. You stay with me in wisdom. You multiply in my hands, because my hands are consecrated to purpose. This is not foolishness. This is the language of mastery." Every great accumulator of wealth in history has held some version of this conversation internally, this sense of being worthy of wealth, of being in right relationship with it, of commanding it rather than cowering before it. You have that same right. You have that same authority. And the moment you begin speaking it consistently, something ancient and powerful in the universe recognizes your command and begins to comply. Now, let me address the fear. Because it is there. I know it is there. Even as you read these words, even as you feel something stir in your spirit and something say, "Yes, yes, this is true. I know this is true," there is also a voice, perhaps quieter now but present, that whispers the counter-argument. "But you don't understand my situation. But you haven't seen my bank account. But things have been this way for so long. But what if I speak it and nothing happens? What if I declare abundance and the evidence of lack laughs in my face?" I hear that voice. I know that voice. That voice has a name, and its name is fear. And fear, for all its volume, for all its apparent authority, for all the convincing evidence it presents, has absolutely no power except the power you give it through agreement. Every time you agree with fear, every time you say, "You're right, I probably won't have enough," you give it a vote in the legislature of your life. You let it cast a ballot against your breakthrough. But here is what you must understand. Fear is not truth. Fear is a frequency of past experience projected onto the future. Fear is the echo of old chapters trying to write the new one. And you have the absolute right, the divine authority, the spiritual power, to tell fear that its time in your story is finished. You have the right to say, "I hear you, but I do not agree with you. I do not partner with you. I do not give you residence in my declarations. My words belong to faith now. My mouth is consecrated to truth, and the truth is abundance, and the truth is supply, and the truth is that I am provided for in full." Say it right now. Fear, you are not my guide. Lack, you are not my portion. Doubt, you are not my companion. I release you all. I release every conversation I have ever had that agreed with not enough, with financial failure, with the lie that I am somehow exempt from the overflow that belongs to every child of the divine. I release those conversations. I forgive myself for having them. And I begin again, right now, in this moment, with new words, with true words, with the only words that carry the frequency of my actual inheritance, which is abundance beyond measure, supply beyond limitation, wealth that flows from a source that has never and will never run dry. I begin again, and I say this: I am provided for. I am prosperous. I am a receiver of divine wealth. I am rich in spirit, and I am manifesting richness in substance. I am not waiting for my life to change. I am speaking my life into its already changed form. I am not hoping for a miracle. I am the miracle that speaks other miracles into being. I declare this. I live this. And I watch as this becomes the undeniable, irrefutable reality of every area of my existence. And I want to speak to the power of repetition here, because repetition is not weakness. Repetition is not desperation. Repetition is the water that carves the canyon. It is the tide that reshapes the shore. It is the daily sunrise that trains the flowers to open. Every time you repeat your declaration of wealth, you are not starting over. You are going deeper. You are pressing the truth further into the bedrock of your subconscious, further into the core programming of your being, further into the automatic, instinctive, reflexive way your mind and spirit interpret reality. The first time you say, "I am wealthy," it may feel like a stretch. It may feel like a lie. It may feel like you are trying to trick yourself or the universe. That is normal. That is the old groove resisting the new one. But the second time you say it, it is slightly more familiar. The fifth time, more natural. The 50th time, it begins to feel like the truth. The 100th time, it is the truth. Not because the words changed the world, but because the words changed you. They changed the lens through which you see the world. They change the filter through which you interpret every experience, every encounter, every financial event in your life. And a changed lens changes everything you look at. So repeat your declarations without shame and without apology. Repeat them in the mirror. Repeat them in the car. Repeat them in the shower. Repeat them quietly when you are in line at the grocery store. Repeat them loudly when you are alone. Write them down. Speak them out. Engrave them in the fabric of your daily existence until they become more automatic than breathing, more natural than doubt, more habitual than fear. Because the one who speaks their wealthy reality consistently, persistently, joyfully, and without apology is the one who wakes up one morning to find that the outer world has finally, beautifully, completely caught up. Let me paint a picture for you of what speaking the language of abundance does over time, over days, over weeks, over the months of consistent, faithful, unwavering declaration. It changes you at a cellular level. Neuroscience has confirmed what spirituality has always known, that the words we speak to ourselves, the narratives we repeat, the emotional frequencies we sustain, literally alter the structure of the brain. They create new neural pathways. They form new automatic responses. They reshape what you notice, what you expect, what you reach for, and what you shrink from. So the man or woman who spends 30 days speaking abundance with genuine belief wakes up on day 31, genuinely different, not performing differently, not pretending differently, actually different. Their eyes see opportunities that their fearful eyes could not see before. Their mind generates ideas that their doubtful mind could not access before. Their conversations take turns that their timid voice could never have navigated before. And the people they encounter, the energy they carry, the rooms they walk into, everything shifts because the inner conversation has shifted. Because the words spoke to the cells, and the cells listened, and the body and mind reorganized around the new truth. This is why the richest, most fulfilled people you know seem to exist in a different reality. They do. Not because they were born luckier or blessed more extraordinarily. They exist in a different reality because they have been having a different inner conversation long enough for the outer world to fully mirror it. And you can enter that reality. The door is not locked. The invitation is not rescinded. The only requirement for entry is that you change what you are saying, deeply and consistently, and with the kind of faith that does not need to see the proof before it speaks the truth. I want to speak now about the act of giving and how it connects to receiving, because this is where many people get confused and where many well-meaning seekers of abundance accidentally create a blockage. They want to receive, but they are afraid to give. They want the river to flow to them, but they have built a dam at the outlet, hoarding, clinging, gripping every dollar with the white-knuckled desperation of someone who believes that what leaves will never return. And that belief that giving equals losing is one of the most expensive lies a person can carry. Because the spiritual law of circulation is unbreakable. What you release with love multiplies. What you give in faith returns with increase. What you sow in joy, you reap in overflow. This is not a suggestion. This is not a nice sentiment. This is a law as reliable as the one that brings spring after winter, as the one that turns seed into harvest, as the one that brings the tide back after it has gone out. When you give, you are not losing. You are planting. You are not diminishing your supply. You are expanding the channel through which supply flows into your life. Every dollar released in joy, every gift given in love, every act of generosity performed in faith is a signal to the universe that you trust the source, that you know your supply is not contained in what you currently hold, but flows continuously from a wellspring that cannot be depleted. And the universe responds to that signal by opening wider channels of return. So speak this over every act of giving in your life. When you pay a bill, say, "I bless this payment. It goes out with love and returns to me multiplied. My giving is my growing. My releasing is my receiving." When you tip a server, when you donate to a cause, when you invest in your own growth, when you give a gift, when you pay for a service, speak over every release of money the truth of its circular, divine nature. Say, "This is a seed. This is a planting. This is a declaration that I trust the harvest. This money leaves my hand, but it does not leave my life. It is in motion. It is in the divine cycle. And it returns to me pressed down, shaken together, running over." Every transaction becomes a sacred act. Every financial release becomes a declaration of faith. And faith, declared consistently, builds the most powerful wealth-attracting field in the universe. I also want to address something that many people experience on this journey of wealth declaration. The moment when you have spoken beautifully, when you have declared faithfully, when you have held your vibration with real discipline, and then something happens, a setback, an unexpected expense, a door that seemed open, suddenly closing. A number in your account that contradicts everything you have been saying. In that moment, that specific, vulnerable, faith-testing moment, what you do next determines everything. And what you must do is this: you must choose not to interpret that setback as evidence that the law does not work, or that you are not worthy, or that the universe has reversed its decision about you. You must choose instead to interpret it as redirection, as refinement, as the divine process of making room for something greater than what was about to arrive. The vine is pruned before it produces its greatest harvest. The gold is placed in fire before it reaches its highest purity. And the soul that is being prepared for significant wealth is often tested at the exact moment the wealth is nearest. Do not flinch. Do not recant. Do not walk back your declarations in the face of contrary evidence. Hold the frequency. Speak louder if you must. Grip faith tighter. Look at the setback straight in the eye and say, "You are not my truth. You are a temporary weather pattern passing through the sky of my permanent abundance. I do not alter my course for weather. I trust the destination. And the destination is overflow. The destination is supply. The destination is the complete and gorgeous manifestation of every wealthy declaration I have ever spoken, and I am still on my way." That is how you respond to setbacks on the path of abundance. Not with denial, but with defiance. Not with pretending the challenge is not real, but with insisting that the challenge is not final. With knowing in the deepest place of your spirit that the law is still working, that the harvest is still forming, that divine intelligence has not forgotten a single word you have spoken in faith. Now, I want to speak specifically to those of you who have been waiting, those of you who have been praying and believing and declaring, and yet the evidence in the physical world has not yet caught up. I want to speak to the ones who are standing at the edge of their breakthrough, who can feel it in their spirit but cannot yet hold it in their hands. Hear this. The delay between the spiritual truth and the physical manifestation is not evidence of failure. It is not evidence that the law does not work, or that you are unworthy, or that God is withholding, or that your words have been falling on deaf ears. The delay is gestation. It is the time between seed and harvest when the work is happening in the invisible roots deepening, nutrients gathering, structures forming beneath the surface that your eyes cannot see. The farmer does not dig up the seed 3 days after planting to check if it is growing. The farmer trusts the law. The farmer speaks life over the field. The farmer prepares for the harvest before there is a single sprout visible above the ground. And the harvest comes. It always comes. It cannot not come. Law is not optional. The harvest is inevitable for the one who plants in faith and does not dig up the seed with doubt. So to the one who is waiting, keep speaking, keep declaring. Keep tuning your voice to the frequency of abundance and keep it there, morning by morning, moment by moment, with every temptation to despair, with every bill that seems too large, with every month that seems too lean. Keep speaking the language of already having. Say, "My harvest is on its way. My manifestation is forming in the invisible right now. What I have spoken with faith is already being assembled by divine intelligence. I do not dig up my seeds with doubt. I water them with continued declaration, and I trust the harvest completely." This kind of faith, the persistent, patient, unwavering kind, is the most powerful force in creation. It moves what desperation cannot move. It opens what anxiety cannot open. It attracts what fear cannot reach. And it always, always, always produces a harvest. Let me speak now about what I call the wealthy identity. Because here is the truth that changes everything. The truth that, once you fully grasp it, makes the entire practice of declaration feel not like an effort but like a homecoming. You are not trying to become wealthy. You are remembering that you already are. You are not building something from nothing. You are uncovering what was always there, beneath the layers of fearful programming, beneath the inherited beliefs about scarcity, beneath the cultural conditioning that told you to be small and expect little and be grateful for scraps. Beneath all of that is a soul that was fashioned from infinite substance, a consciousness that emerged from a source of endless supply, a being whose essential nature is abundance, whose spiritual inheritance is overflow, whose divine birthright is everything, everything, everything that the infinite creative force of this universe contains. That is who you are. That is what you are made of. And every time you speak wealth, you are not manufacturing a fantasy, you are stripping away a lie. You are removing a false coating that never belonged to you and revealing the golden truth of your original self. You are coming home. So speak from home. Speak from that identity. Say, I do not aspire to wealth. I remember wealth. I do not reach for abundance. I recognize it as my nature. I do not chase prosperity. I am prosperity in human form. I am the living expression of divine supply. I am the evidence that God is generous, and that generosity has a face, and that face is mine. I walk in rooms, and wealth recognizes me. Money responds to my presence because my presence is the frequency of abundance. I do not shrink. I do not apologize. I do not minimize myself or reduce my expectations out of false humility. I walk fully as who I am, which is a child of the infinite, a vessel of overflow, a magnet for divine wealth. And I am ready to receive in full everything that my wealthy identity has always been preparing to deliver. Say that with your whole chest. Say that with every cell of your being. Say it until it replaces the last remnant of the old story. Say it until your brain cannot find the memory of the word lack. Say it until overflow becomes the only language your soul knows. Because here is what happens when you speak at that level, when you go beyond the practice of affirmation and into the identity of abundance, the world around you begins to treat you differently. Not because you told anyone your declarations, not because you performed wealth for the world, but because something in your energy shifts at such a fundamental level that people perceive it. Opportunities present themselves because they gravitate toward frequency. Money moves because money follows boldness. Doors open because the universe orchestrates around identity, around what you have decided you are and what you have spoken about yourself with unwavering conviction. The outer world does not lead, it follows. It always follows. It is always catching up to the inner declaration. And when the inner declaration is clear and consistent and bold and faith-filled and rooted in the knowledge of divine supply, the outer world has no choice but to eventually, inevitably, powerfully match it. I want to spend a moment on gratitude, because gratitude is not just a nice sentiment in this context. It is one of the highest frequency vibrations available to a human being. It is the frequency that says, I already have, I am already blessed. Supply has already arrived. Gratitude bypasses the frequency of wanting, which always signals lack, and steps directly into the frequency of having, which always signals abundance. When you are grateful for what you have, even the small things, even the seeds before the harvest, even the evidence of supply in its most modest forms, you are sending the most powerful signal of abundance into the universe. You are telling the law of vibration, this is my frequency. This is what I am tuned to. This is the energy I am offering, and therefore this is the energy I am drawing toward me. Every morning, before you declare your abundance, spend a moment in genuine gratitude. Say, thank you for the supply that is already in my life. Thank you for the evidence, however small, that divine provision is real and working. Thank you for every dollar, every opportunity, every resource, every door that has ever opened. Thank you for what is on the way. Thank you for the harvest that is forming in the invisible. Thank you that my wealthy reality is not a future event, but a present truth that I am walking into more fully with every breath, with every declaration, with every act of grateful, expectant faith. And then declare the next level, declare the increase, declare the overflow. Declare the unexpected income, the divine opportunities, the supernatural favor, the resources that come from directions you never anticipated. Declare that your bank account reflects your inner wealth, that your financial life mirrors your spiritual identity, that every area of your material existence aligns with the abundance that lives in your spirit. Declare it daily. Declare it boldly. Declare it with the settled peace of someone who knows that the law is working even when the evidence has not yet arrived. Because that is the definition of faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And faith spoken consistently, faith declared out loud in the face of contrary appearances, Faith maintained with patience and joy and expectant trust is the master key to every door in the kingdom of abundance. So I call you today to a practice, a discipline, a sacred daily ritual of speaking your wealthy reality into being. Every morning, speak it. Every evening, reinforce it. Every time the old voice of lack rises up, answer it with a louder voice of truth. Every time the evidence of the physical world contradicts the declaration of your spirit, hold your ground. Stand in the middle of the storm and speak the calm. Stand in the middle of the drought and speak the rain. Stand in the middle of the empty and speak the full, because you are not a reporter of current circumstances. You are a creator of future realities. You are not describing what is. You are declaring what is becoming. You are not a victim of your financial past. You are the architect of your prosperous future. And the architecture happens right here, right now, in this moment, in the words that come out of your mouth, in the declarations that fill your inner world, in the language that your soul speaks when it is aligned with the infinite source of all that is. This is your moment. This is your declaration. This is where you plant the seed that grows into the harvest of your abundant life. And the harvest is not far. The harvest is closer than you think. It is already forming. It is already arranged. It is already responding to the frequency of your faith. All that is required of you is to keep speaking, to keep believing, to keep showing up in the language of wealth and the posture of one who has already received, to keep saying with the calm authority of a soul that knows, I am wealthy, I am supplied, I am prosperous, I am overflowing, I am a magnet for divine abundance, I am a receiver of unexpected income, I am one with the source that never runs dry, my words are law, my faith is currency. My voice is the sacred instrument through which abundance is called into form. Speak it now, live it now, breathe it now, walk in it now, because your wealthy reality is not a destination you are traveling toward. It is a truth you are stepping into. It is a frequency you are tuning to. It is a homecoming that begins the moment you open your mouth and agree with what heaven has always said about you. And what heaven says is this: you are enough. You are worthy. You are divinely provided for. You are the beloved of an infinite source whose supply has no ceiling and no floor, whose generosity knows no season, whose abundance has your name on it now, not someday, not eventually, not when you have proven yourself worthy now, right now, in this very moment. Your wealthy reality is sealed. It is done. It is finished. And all that is left is for you to speak it, to believe it, and to open your beautiful, worthy hands and receive it in full. I am wealthy now. I am supplied now. I am overflowing now. I am aligned with divine abundance now. Money flows to me freely and frequently. Unexpected income finds me daily. My bank account reflects the overflow of my spirit. My finances are a testimony to the faithfulness of divine law. I do not chase wealth, I embody it. I do not beg for supply. I am the supply in motion. I am the channel through which heaven's abundance pours into the earth. And as I speak this, as I declare this, as I anchor this truth into every cell of my being, the universe listens, the law responds, the harvest forms, and the overflow begins. It is done. It is done. It is done. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is, forever and completely and joyfully and in full. This is your wealthy reality. Now speak it like you mean it. Now live it like you know it. Now receive it like the precious, inevitable, divinely ordained gift that it already is and has always been.